Hey there, health enthusiasts! Earlier, I was about to make lunch when I realized my stomach isn't the only thing running on empty. My pantry is looking a little sad as well. Guess it's time for a grocery run. Oh, wait, we have a lesson, don't we? Well, here's a thought. How about a hands-on nutrition lesson straight from the grocery store aisles? Ready to navigate the world of food labels with me? By the end, you'll be a nutrition label analyzing machine and be able to use them to make healthier food choices. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Did you know that the average grocery store carries around 40,000 items? That's a ton of options to choose from. And oftentimes, the choices can look pretty similar on the surface. So, how do we choose the most nutritious options? This is where nutrition labels come in. Nutrition labels are like cheat sheets that show you exactly what's in the food that you're buying or eating. Let's take a look. What do you think is the first number you should pay attention to? You might think it's calories, but it's actually the serving size right here. This number is the anchor that puts all of the others into perspective, including calories. In this case, the serving size is 1 cup. As a reference, a cup is the size of a fist. Eating 2 cups of this snack would double these numbers. 3 cups would triple them, and so on. If you're not sure about the serving size, the servings per container can help you out as well. In this case, there are 6 servings in the container, so 1 serving is 1/6 of the package. Serving sizes can vary a lot, which is why checking this number first is so important. Okay, now let's look at calories. Calories are a measure of how much energy is in food. Despite the size of the text, calories aren't everything. A lower number here doesn't necessarily make something healthy. On the flip side, a higher calorie count doesn't mean something is automatically unhealthy. Generally speaking, the average person needs about 2,000 calories a day, but the best way to get those calories depends on your own personal needs. Below the calorie count, you'll find all kinds of useful information. For each nutrient, you'll find a physical amount, such as grams of total fat or milligrams of sodium, but you'll also find a percentage on the right-hand side. This is the percentage of the daily recommended amount that the average person needs for each nutrient. Remember, it's just a recommendation, but each of these percentages can serve as a helpful guide to keep you on track throughout the day. For example, if you have a meal or snack with a high percentage of sugar now, then it's probably best to limit sugary foods later. Or if your meals early in the day are low in protein, your dinner should include plenty of it. All right, now that we've armed ourselves with some basic knowledge about nutrition labels, let's get to shopping. I'd like to make some pasta this week, but as you can see, there are so many choices. How do I possibly choose? Let's start with these 2 options. Which one do you think is healthier? Well, the whole grain option has more fiber. Remember, fiber is a helpful pace setter in digestion, so the whole grain pasta is the healthier choice. However, not all whole grain foods are created equal. Check the fiber content on nutrition labels to see how much is actually in the foods you eat. Okay, let's move on to the beverage aisle. Once again, there are seemingly endless options to choose from. Like this soda, for instance. Does anything stand out to you? Just 1 can packs a whopping 41 grams of added sugar? That's 83% of the daily recommended value. So just 1 of these puts you close to the limit for the whole day. That's why it's so important to check the sugar content of the food and drinks you enjoy using nutrition labels so you can figure out how they fit into your nutritional needs. All right, where to next? Yogurt is a favorite snack of mine, so I'll be heading to the dairy aisle. Once again, there are a lot of options. Let's see. Ooh, low-fat strawberry yogurt. That sounds healthy, right? Low-fat? Fruit? Let's take a look. As we can see, there is only half a gram of saturated fat. Remember, too much saturated fat can increase risk for conditions such as heart attack or stroke. So less saturated fat is great, but is there something else you've noticed about this choice? It's loaded with added sugar. Geez, this stuff is in everything. Let's compare this option to low-fat plain Greek yogurt. Which one is looking healthier now? Pause the video and write your thoughts in your guided notes. The Greek yogurt has way more protein than the regular kind and no added sugar, making it a much healthier choice overall. It's got a plain flavor, but I can always add my own fresh fruit to sweeten it naturally. All right, time for the snack aisle. I'm now surrounded by a massive selection of crunchy, bite-sized treats. I've been wanting to try baked chips for a while. Let's take a look. Comparing baked chips to classic chips, what stands out to you on these labels? The baked chips have less fat than the classic chips because they aren't fried in oil. But to be honest, I'm kind of disappointed by the lack of other nutrients. Despite the way they're marketed, baked chips really aren't the healthiest snack out there. Let's look at a package of mixed nuts next. Looking at this label, what are some things you notice? Pause the video and write your thoughts in your guided notes. Some people might see 17 grams of total fat and feel alarmed. But remember, fat isn't necessarily the bad guy it's made out to be. Unsaturated fats are the kind that help improve our cardiovascular health along with other awesome benefits. But where are they on this label? To figure out how much unsaturated fat is in a food item, take the total fat and subtract the saturated fat. In this case, the amount of unsaturated fat is 17 minus 2, or 15 grams of healthy fat. I'm also seeing 6 grams of protein and a decent amount of iron. So, while nuts aren't a low-calorie snack, they are still packed with nutrients. This makes them a healthier choice than most chip options. Last but not least, let's hit up the frozen food aisle. There are all kinds of food here, but let's take a peek at some popular items. Take these frozen chicken nuggets, for instance. Looking at the percentage of daily value for the nutrients, are there any numbers that stand out to you? A serving size of just 5 chicken nuggets provides a whopping 29% of the recommended sodium for a day. This might seem like a win. Sodium is important to the body, but it's like sugar and saturated fat in that too much can have a negative impact on our health. And the foods most likely to contain super high amounts of sodium? Frozen foods. Let's look at another popular item, pizza. What do you think are some healthier numbers on this food label? And what numbers do you think are not so healthy? Pause the video and write your thoughts in your guided notes. On a positive note, it has a lot of protein and calcium. However, it also has a ton of saturated fat and sodium. Make sure to use nutrition labels to check the sodium content of the food you're buying or eating. If your favorite snack is high in this tasty mineral, there are a few strategies you can use. Oftentimes, stores offer lower sodium versions of snacks you can choose instead. The packaging will likely include terms like lightly salted or 50% less sodium. Or, if you like your snacks salty, try reducing the portion size to keep your sodium intake balanced. And with that, we've wrapped up my grocery trip, and this lesson about nutrition labels. Remember, whether you're shopping at the store or browsing for snacks at home, nutrition labels are a go-to guide for choosing healthier food options. Generally speaking, try to limit added sugar as much as possible, as well as saturated fat and sodium. Look for foods that are lightweights in these categories while providing plenty of healthy nutrients like fiber, protein, vitamins, and minerals. In our next lesson, we'll look into some strategies for applying this knowledge to healthier nutrition habits. I've got to get these groceries home, so until then, I'm Caroline, and remember, prioritizing your health is a choice you make every day, and it's worth it. So, keep building that healthy lifestyle, take care, and I'll see you next time.